What's up guys, it's your boy Harry here, and I just wanted to record a quick video intro to let you know where I've been for the past couple of months. I had to take some time off because my beloved fat cat died, and then I moved from Texas to Colorado. So this is actually my first video as a Coloradoan, a person that lives in Colorado. Anyways, I'm glad to be back. I missed your faces, and I cannot wait to start releasing content again. So for now, go ahead and sit back, relax, and grab a skeleton and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the 5th episode of my original tower defense simulator series, The Rundown. Just to remind you, in these videos I go over everything you need to know about each tower, including its stats, providing general strategy advice, doing a skin showcase, sharing trivia information, and finally giving my overall opinion of each tower. All of this information comes from the official Tower Defense Simulator wiki, which I will link in the description below. In this episode, I'm going to be covering everything you need to know about one of the most overlooked towers in TDS, the Commando. Now, the Commando is a tower that could have originally been obtained by beating the Area 51 map on the normal plus mode as part of the Area 51 event. As of the making of this video, it has never been made available to purchase as a game pass. The Commando attacks by shooting its laser pistols, but after the level 2 upgrade, it shoots rockets from a rocket launcher on its back, dealing splash damage. And when you upgrade it to level 4, the rocket launcher will shoot 4 rockets at a time. One of the main benefits of the Commando's rockets is that they ignore the enemy's defense stats, meaning that they do full damage to all enemies. And the missiles are also able to damage lead zombies. One of the main strengths of the Commando is its insane range for a ground tower, which I'm going to cover shortly. But the main thing I want to point out right now is that a major weakness for this tower is the fact that it does not have hidden detection, which means you'll have to bring along other towers to kill the hidden enemies. Now let's talk about the stats. Commando is going to cost you $1,600 to place and will sell for $533 at its base level. This is a ground placement tower with no placement limit. The level 1 upgrade costs $350 and adds 2 range. The level 2 upgrade costs $700 and adds another 2 range, as well as adding the rocket launcher on the tower's back. These rockets are going to do 1 damage each, take 6 seconds to reload, and have an explosion range of 8. The level 3 upgrade is going to cost $2,000, add another 1 range, and it upgrades the rockets from doing 1 to 2 damage each. The level 4 upgrade costs $7,500, adds another 2 range and another 6 damage, and upgrades the rockets again so that it fires 4 of them, and they now do 5 damage each. And finally, the level 5 upgrade costs $10,000, is going to add another 3 range and another 12 damage, and the rockets get a final upgrade as well, so they now do 11 damage each. Now moving on, let's take a look at the stats table. First thing I need to note about this table is that the DPS does not take into account splash damage for the rockets. So in game, the Commando is actually gonna do more damage than the DPS shows here because its rockets are hitting multiple enemies at once. Let's go ahead and focus on max level, the level 5 stats. The first thing I notice is that it's really expensive to upgrade the Commando all the way. That's a total cost of $22,150 for only about 52 damage per second. Compare that to a tower that we all know and love, the minigunner. That tower only costs $17,650 to take to max level, and it's gonna do 80 damage per second. So when you consider that, plus the fact that both towers have about the same range, you start to think that maybe the Commando isn't really worth it. Again, the Commando's DPS does not reflect all the splash damage that the tower's rockets are doing, which actually makes it much better against hordes of zombies in the minigunner because the mini can only attack 1 enemy at a time. But I don't know if that's enough to offset the Commando's weaknesses, like the fact that it can't directly attack hidden enemies while the minigunner can. Now, the one thing that this tower really does better than any other tower in the game is just look freaking cool when it's shooting the rockets. Let's check out some of those sick rocket spirals. Woohoo! Look at it go! Look at that. So cool. That's pretty much the only reason they use this tower. Because it's just too expensive to be placed early game, and its DPS is only mediocre when you compare it to late game towers like the turret and the ranger. But if you guys have already seen my 90 commandos versus the Fallen King video, then you know that a large group of commandos actually does a ton of damage. So if you're gonna use this tower, try to place like 5 or 6 of them close together so they can really maximize the splash damage. Now I'm gonna move on to some general strategy advice. My first point here is very interesting and unique for towers that fire rockets. A tower such as the mortar will fire at wherever the enemy was standing when the projectile was shot, which makes it very weak against fast enemies since most of the time the rocket's gonna miss. But the Commando's rockets are 100% accurate despite aiming for where the enemy originally was. This means that the rockets can hit fast enemies such as the shock and the glitch with full damage. Strangely enough though, the explosion does not form over where the rocket lands, but instead over the current position of the enemy. Now, as I said earlier, the Commando struggles to be effective during late game because of its high cost and low DPS. You can use the Commander and DJ boost to help out a little, but you're really going to want to upgrade the Commando to level 4 as soon as you can, since that's when it gets its quad rocket launcher. Once again, the Commando does not have hidden detection, so it really can't help with the hidden enemies. However, you could take advantage of the Ace Pilot's hacker ability to give the Commando the ability to attack hiddens that spawn during the first 15 seconds of a wave, but with this method, if there's any hidden enemies that come after 15 seconds, the Commando is going to be useless against them. Now, without a doubt, the biggest strength of this tower is the splash damage that it does with its rockets. This makes it extremely strong against the hordes of zombies you're going to be facing. The Commando also works really well against enemies with splash damage immunity, since they still take full damage from the laser pistols. And finally, while the Commando's rocket fire rate is 6 seconds, it normally takes about 2 seconds for the rocket to reach its target. This makes the actual in-game rocket fire rate closer to 8 seconds. And when you consider this fact, the mortars and the rocketeers actually have faster fire rates than the Commando's rockets. Now for the question that you've all been waiting for: should the Commando be used to trigger Hidden Wave? I'm gonna say no for 2 reasons. One, it simply costs too much money to place during the early game. This is when Hidden Wave hunters need a cheap tower to place so that they can save time by finishing the waves before the skip button appears, and the Commando is not gonna do that. And 2, even during late game when the player has more money to place it, the Commando's DPS doesn't really justify its costs. There are other towers that do way more damage per second that you should be investing your money in at this point, like the accelerator. Okay, so I'm not saying that someone couldn't use it at all to trigger Hidden Wave. In fact, it might be most useful during Hidden Wave when tons of strong enemies are spawning and the rockets could really do a lot of splash damage. But just for triggering Hidden Wave, it really isn't that useful. Now, if you happen to have the Commando and you're wondering what a good loadout is for it, I recommend something like Soldier for early game because it's cheap and it has hidden detection, Farm to get those da monies, DJ to bring down the price of the Commando and boost its high range even higher, the Commando itself to get through mid and late game, and the turret to handle shadow bosses and carry you through late game. Alright, moving on, now I'm going to do a skin showcase for the skins available in the game for the Commando. As of recording this video, there's only one skin available, the Pirate, so let's see what that looks like. Here at level 0, you can see he's just a normal pirate. He has not committed himself to a life of crime just yet. What's unique about this skin at this basic level is that it already has gloves. Skins don't usually get gloves until level 1, so let's see what's going on there. Alright, level 1 actually doesn't have any changes except for adding a wheel to his back. So that's what this looks like here. Alright, now we're talking. He's looking a lot more like a pirate here. We get a better pirate look because he has the bandana and the eye patch now. And level 3 keeps everything the same except it changes his vest into a full-on shirt and also adds a parrot to his left shoulder and a cannon on his back for the rockets. This cannon actually shows up at level 2. Okay, this is getting pretty cool looking. At level 4, he gets a much better parrot on his shoulder, a yo-ho-ho pirate's hat with skull and crossbones on it, and he goes a little overboard with the cannons. He now has 4 instead of 1. And wrapping up this showcase is the level 5 skin. It's basically everything we've already seen except he gets a black jacket, he loses the skull and crossbones hat and gets one with a little more flair to it, and his guns go from plain Jane silver to a gold color, and he also gets a swashbuckling knife. Alright, now let's go over some tower trivia. Did you know that the Commando was only the second event tower to be added to TDS after the Gladiator? I did. The Commando is based on the Commando from the game Risk of Rain 2. Oh, cool. Here's something I didn't know. The Commando originally had a placement limit of 5. That would really make this tower useless. But it looks like that got removed on October 13th, 2019. The Commando also used to appear alongside the Commander on the Triumph screen before the overhaul update. And my final piece of trivia information is that the Commando as well as the Toxic Gunner are the only event towers that have never been available through a game pass. That's just sad. I think you guys already know that I believe every tower should be available as a game pass once a year. It's easy for towers like the Toxic Gunner Gunner, since it's a Halloween tower, it can just be released for like 24 hours on Halloween. But since the Commando is not attached to a holiday, when do you guys think that should be released? Since the Area 51 event ran from August to September of 2019, I think the Commando should go on sale for a couple of days every September. But let me know what you guys think about that idea down in the comments below, and let me know if you think there's a better time of the year to release this tower. Alright, now for my much sought after opinion on this tower. I think it's really cool. Okay, fine. I have to admit that it doesn't really have any special strengths like the Gladiator. It's too expensive for early game, and it has a weak final DPS, but the rocket firing animation is the coolest firing animation in the game by far. I'd say it's even cooler than the Accelerator Mage skin when it's firing. And the fact that the placement limit got removed is a really good bonus for this tower. You only need a medium-sized group of these towers to make the splash damage from the rockets really effective, so you really don't need every player in the game to have it. So it really becomes a good supporting tower to help out your teammates that are using Rangers or minigunners for in-game. And have I mentioned the complete flex status for players that have the Commando? Ever since the Gladiator came back as a game pass, no one can tell who's OG and who isn't. So once again, what I'm asking is for Below to release the Commando as a game pass. And this would be the perfect time to do it. It's September. The game hasn't had an update since early May. That's 4 months of winter. If you guys think about it, we're only 2 months away from having another Halloween update situation on our hands. Doing a small update now, along with releasing the Commando, would bring players back to the game again and hold everyone over until winter finally ends. So in conclusion, is this tower hot or not? I'm gonna say kinda hot. If the TDS devs bring it back, I don't think it'll be as popular as the Gladiator. Even though it is cooler looking, that's really all it has going for itself. As always, let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. Is the Commando worth it, or does it just look pretty and who cares anyway? If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button with your forehead, hit the subscribe button with your big toe, and turn on notifications however you can so you don't miss any of my amazing upcoming content. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care, be safe, and never forget what I always say. Peace.